Welcome to episode 88 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and other related technologies, plus tips, apps, and gear. I am your host, as always, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. What's going on, Warren?
What's up, Dave? How you doing?
Doing well.
Happy Wednesday, I guess it is.
Happy
Thursday? It might even
Thursday.
be a Thursday. The week is the week's not what they used to be. Yeah,
it's been a long week for me. I can tell you that. Personal stuff and lots of work going on, and replacing laptops and all kinds of fun stuff. But the Apple world never stops because there's always something to talk about when it comes to an iPhone and iPad and all the other stuff, you know. So
as long as they keep making money, they're going to keep making changes, and people are going to try to get money from them, and it's all about the money. So there you go.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
So let's go ahead and kick right in. We got lots of news stories, and we are going to talk a little bit about the like everybody else has been talking about, the coronavirus concerns, but we'll throw an iOS spin to it. And lots of tips here, and we'll see how things go here. Just let's keep the show going here, and we'll have some fun. So first news story we have, and of course it's a coronavirus story. Mac rumors, Apple retail stores are warning about replacement iPhone shortages due to the coronavirus. This was actually reported in Bloomberg. The replacement iPhones for heavily damaged devices are expected to face a supply constraint for 2 to 4 weeks. And the Apple Store employees have been informed of this, so they can mail the replacement iPhones to customers and then provide loaner devices, which is interesting. I haven't ever heard them do that before, so that's kind of cool. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, I think there was actually a couple of pieces of this news bit too. That obviously the parts for the replacement. Somebody said one was the screens was an issue too. If the screens broke, they didn't have enough parts for the screens.
So. Foxconn.
So it's basically, we'll see if the repair time starts slipping, and see how it goes. I mean, I haven't heard any real world complaints from people saying that, they told me it's going to be a month, for my device to get fixed, but it'll be coming. I'm sure it's, coming out there.
Oh yeah, it's we'll talk about that a little bit in the topics, but it's not just Apple. It's affecting everybody here. It's a little crazy. So let's move on to this next story here, and we'll talk about Wunderlist. Did you ever use Wunderlist, the to-do app?
I downloaded it like in 2010, maybe. I don't even remember.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah, I know people are crying over it.
It was a very popular to-do list app, Apple centric, and of all people bought it was Microsoft. Of course now Microsoft, of course this is a 9 to 5 Mac story. Microsoft is going to shut Wunderlist down on May 6th, and I was not at all surprised about this. And the story says it's time to pick a replacement. Well, the replacement was Microsoft To Do. And I guess there's people who don't like Microsoft To Do, but I mean, I think it's got some decent features. I've been using it in the corporate world and find it to be helpful, keeping things going. And they did keep a lot of the features in To Do for Microsoft in parody of what Wunderlist was doing. I just can't imagine that it would be a difficult transition, but they are by May 6th. This is going to get shut down. You'll no longer be able to sync it, but you will be able to import things into the To Do app or another To Do app. But do you use any other To Do apps besides?
I don't
any at all. Or?
No, I'll use I guess reminders on iOS is as far as I get with that kind of thing. Yeah. So, I my life isn't that complicated.
That's right.
So I kind of know where I'm going. I do use my calendars.
Sure.
And I use notes, and I use reminders, and when you kind of mesh them all into together, you kind of get what this app does. So you know, but for me, I'm fine with basically doing it the way I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
It all depends on your workflow, how you do things, and check out Microsoft to do. I mean, the link is in this article to download it. It's absolutely free, which is cool. Microsoft is still offering it for free, and you can try it out. They integrate it quite nicely with the Office 365 suite, of course, but it does work well, and it works real well in tandem with Outlook as well. So I don't know. Some people that may not want to be in the Microsoft ecosystem, but there are plenty of other to do apps out there. So be aware that is coming soon. And this was an interesting article. Android devices lose value twice as fast as iPhones, they report claims. This is on Apple Must.
I don't think I need a news article to tell me that. I think I
I know. But I thought this was interesting to talk about here. And there's no surprise here at all. And they have, bar graphs, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, they say how to turn $100 into a $29 buy an Android. If you want to spend $29 for an Android that's over 24 months old, yeah, it loses almost 80% of its value by that time. Yeah, because I've got the Pixel 2 XL. That thing isn't worth cheese now, and that was an expensive phone when it was new. And it's still a great phone. But
yeah.
yeah,
I mean the issues are, other than the obvious stuff, they don't update all the phones
yeah,
to
that's
the
why
newest
right there.
version, which is kind of crazy. And as a side note, I'm doing full time work now, and I'm supporting
Yeah,
people's devices, and a whole bunch of them seem to be Android. They seem to be popular with the. I mean, it's a good mix. We have a lot of iOS devices too, but there's a good
sure.
mix of Android devices, and I know you learn a lot of this stuff by muscle memory, because I haven't had an Android device in a while now. So,
Right,
um, but there are a decent amount of differences between the different versions of Android as they go along, and it's confusing, especially to, like, the users who use them. The one device is different than the other, and
right.
nothing's intuitive. So I'm becoming less and less of a fan of the Android devices as I go
Well,
along.
I mean, I never was a fan to begin with, but but
Yeah.
but as you as well as you have a new job. I've been 20 years in my job, and I need to know about Android only because I know people are going to be asking me questions about it, and I support them. So be aware of it. But some of these interesting data points. The 10R only lost about 21% of its value in the whole year of 2019, compared to the S10e. Galaxy lost almost 40% in only 9 months. The 10s lost 23%, S10 43%. You're seeing the math here. Even the 10s Max, is still a very valuable phone. 25% drop. Its trading value is still big. But the S10 Plus, it's over 45% loss in only 9 months. So again,
Yeah.
we're not all surprised here, are you? Like I said, we don't even need a news story to
No,
talk
in
to
fact,
us
if you
about.
look at any of the online selling, places, Craigslist, eBay, things like
Yeah,
that, with the used market, it's 99.9% Apple devices, and the rest is a couple thrown in of a couple old
yeah.
Android devices. So a lot of people don't even try to sell their used Android devices. They probably just end up in a drawer somewhere.
That's what happens basically. I think. Although I mean, the Google phones, I had been able to sell them for reasonable price. I even get $50 for it. I think I had uh, one of the Nexus phones that I sold, and I ended up getting pretty good money. Actually, close to $100. I think I got it for, which was a lot for
I think
for that.
my nephew traded his up, and Google actually had a thing where, like what Apple is doing, where you could trade them up,
Right.
and they gave him a decent price for it on that. But certainly the run of the mill, unless it's a flagship model of anything else, it's definitely drawer is a kitchen drawer material for the most
Yeah.
part. You're not gonna.
Oh yeah.
I used to keep the ones I had around for a while, and then about 2 years ago, I found the first one I owned, which was a Droid. It was it was one of the first Android phones. It wasn't. It was called a Droid, and it had
Yeah,
this
remember it.
kind of
Yeah, was it
flip.
Motorola? Was it?
It wasn't. It might have been Motorola at the time, or yeah, I guess so. But it had a screen, and then it was like a flip up thing that had the
Yep,
keyboard that came
I
out.
remember that.
And then just even not a couple of years after I put it in a drawer, I took it out. I'm like, this is so slow. I can't even try to play with it.
That's
But
right.
it was cool to have at least.
Yeah,
Should have kept it.
and you put this story in talking about Twitter. If you want to go ahead and tell us about this.
Yeah, this is I don't use Twitter that much, but I hear everybody kind of talking about this, and basically, they're rolling out something called Fleets, Fleets, which is
Hmm.
basically it's basically I linked the article to TechCrunch in there, but they
Yep.
all say the same thing. It's basically a story that kind of will disappear after 24 hours. It doesn't get posted to your timeline.
Hmm.
Um, it's not public, I guess is what it is, and people can't like or repost them or retweet them. They can only respond by direct messaging you, and basically it's kind of
Yeah.
the same as stories, I guess, as well, their own version. So it's a different type of thing where you know people were saying that this is good for people who don't want to put everything out there on the public feed.
Right.
Just kind of like a how I feel kind of thing,
Hmm.
maybe. So it's making the news and it's on iOS. It's rolling out to iOS as well. So look out for fleets.
Check it out, fleets.
Check
I
out the
mean,
fleet.
what's the why don't see the I don't use the young folks like what is it, Snapchat,
Yeah,
where the stories
disappear.
disappear.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I think they're past that now. I
Yeah.
think are they on? They were on Instagram, and now
Well, you have a
everything's.
young son, so you know.
I think
You
he's
hear,
Instagram and TikTok now is what we're doing. But
oh,
yeah,
TikTok, yes. I
of
haven't
course,
even gone down that road.
yeah, no, of course, all the parents were paranoid about the Snapchat because, oh my God, you're gonna post things you don't want people to see, and people are gonna
Yeah.
take a photocopy of the phone in your hand and copy it out. But
Yeah.
we got over that.
So, moving on to our topics, I'm kind of glad I kept beta as a topic now because it's like every week. So, I think
Yeah.
since we started doing this,
We had a scary
Apple's been consistent with beta releases each week. So,
we had a
we're at
scary
beta
one
4.
week. Yeah, we had a scary 1 week or two where nothing came out, but yeah, beta every week, and
And
the
you've got it, I know. So,
yeah, the only difference
there,
this week was the watch update didn't come out till the day after for some reason. They must have had a problem with it. So
you know,
they released all the betas on Tuesday, and then Wednesday was the watch beta. Um, just like last week, beats me if I could tell the difference between the week before it. It all looks the same to me. Haven't noticed any changes. Haven't noticed
well,
any
and the
difference.
articles keep mentioning about the mail toolbar, but that hasn't changed, has it? I mean, it says,
No, I think these articles kind of just do a cumulative
yeah.
recap of what it's done in the past.
So there really
So
isn't much. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know. This is supposed to be a major upgrade, isn't it?
not this beta, I don't think. Excuse
This
me.
one isn't 13.4 versus 13.3.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a big update, but that the things that are big in it, or at least have been out since the beta one of 10.15.4, not 10.15. What are we? 13.4 is basically
Yeah.
including those updates, but every build on this point, the only thing they've been doing that I noticed was moving the bottom icons around on the mail app. But
Yeah.
from last week to this week, they didn't do it, so there's nothing really else to do. So at this point, it's just going to be performance and bugs. At this point, I
Yeah.
don't
It's
think we're
usually,
going
but
to.
that's why I say not a bug fixes, and
Yeah, I don't
which
think
they
we're
never
going to.
tell you what they are.
No, and I don't think we're going to get any new features in these betas, and then 13.4 will drop for everybody, and you'll
Yeah.
have basically um, the, the new mail icons, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, one mention here is based on prior release cycles. They're giving it a fair guess that these the final version of this 13.4 is probably going to come out later this month, which seems pretty consistent the way Apple's been releasing these. Don't you think?
Yeah, and again, the round before this on 13.3,
13.3.
I think that was a bigger one than this one. There's really not that much going on with this one. So
Yeah.
like I said last time, don't have FOMO on this. Don't, if you want to wait for the public, go ahead. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't knock yourself out for any feature on this round. To be
Yeah.
honest with
Other
you.
than the mail, the mail bar they fixed the toolbar.
Yeah,
That's about the only thing.
yeah.
But even that, I mean, I've lived without it all this time, so
I don't even know if I call it a fix at this point, as much as just
it's a feature.
change. Yeah, they just move things around, so now you have to figure out where everything went. But by the time the rest of the public gets it, I'll be a master in it, so I'll be able to show people not to flag their messages, instead delete them.
There you go. All right, let's talk a little bit about the coronavirus. Everybody else is. Why not talk about it with iOS here?
Every tech podcast I listen to.
Every tech podcast, every news channel, every many. I mean, and I know Microsoft and Amazon, because of all the problems in Washington State, they closed off their offices and said everybody works from home. So, and I think that's been pretty consistent across Washington State for the most part.
Yeah, well, Amazon actually has an employee that tested positive.
Oh, it was okay
in Seattle. Yeah, they said. And of course, the off-color jokes are coming in on Twitter. It's like
with the smile and the box and
that, and the funny one that everybody's posting is you got to wait 4 to 6 weeks for the next person to catch it, something like that. And then somebody said that's a really prime joke there. But in any case, yeah. So it's all over.
Yeah, it's just crazy, and a lot of speculation. A lot of tech trade shows have canceled. South by Southwest in Austin, that's huge this time of year for spring break. Apple pulled out. I think Facebook pulled out of there, and it's still going on as far as I have heard the last news. But I can't see why it would be getting a lot of people there.
Yeah, from what I understand, or from what I heard, the city stands to live. Where is it stand? Somewhere in Texas, I guess. Where is it?
Austin.
Yeah. So
Austin, Texas.
From what I hear, is people are the city's going to lose a lot of money if people don't go, and they don't want to do that. Of course,
this big. It's always big for them every year.
Yeah, it's a big festival. And they still think people will come in state, but the more people pull out, the less likely it's going to probably end up actually going on. So, but that's more of a music festival too, right? It's more music.
No, it's got tech as well. I mean, there was a lot of tech companies would go there, and it's a mix. I mean, yeah, a lot of discussion, a lot of focus is music, but there are a lot of times a lot of tech podcasts and tech pundits would go each year. So, right. So like I said, other conferences. I think Google's I/O developer conference, they shut that down. Now the speculation is coming June is the Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC. Will that go on as scheduled? Well, of course, hasn't really officially been scheduled yet, but could Apple pull the plug on this too? I mean, especially with there's folks in California that have been affected, and what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they have until April, I think, from what I understand, to make that decision, because usually they don't send out the invites till about that time, anyways. Yeah, it depends on what direction the virus is going. So in the next week or two, if there's more cases, I would say within a week or two, if the cases get worse and there's no good news, then I would say they're definitely going to cancel it. Uh, at that point, I
You would
think it's
think.
just the way it's going. I mean, Apple as a company is pretty um what's the word? They're pretty they don't care so much about the money as much as the public
Well, no,
image.
they had already
Yeah,
declared this was going to be a bad quarter
yeah,
even back a month ago.
and,
That it's starting to get so.
and they want they have a sensitive side and they have a human side to them is what they want to give the public is that opinion is that they're a human company and
Sure.
you know the health and safety and well-being of everybody is more important than that. So if any company is going to do it, I think Apple would definitely cancel on the basis of
Oh
just
yeah.
just not looking like they're you know greedy for whatever reason. Although I'm sure they make a good amount of money off it, because it's not cheap. You get $1,600 to just go, and then
Well, yeah.
and then the hotels are probably more upset than Apple because they jack up their
Oh,
prices.
the whole travel industry. Let's face it.
Yeah, everybody jacks up their prices for that and things like that. So, yeah, my guess is we'll ask me in 2 weeks how it is, and
Yeah.
I think we'll know by then.
Well, I mean, this obviously gives Apple another reason to be. They should be thinking where their supply chain should not be throwing all their eggs in one basket in China, looking at alternate places to manufacture. I'm sure a lot of companies are trying to do that as well.
Yeah,
And
but
didn't I believe Tim Cook talked about that too in some interviews he's had.
yeah, but it's not even China, just China at this point. Anyways, it's I think even domestic travel is being affected, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I'm a little scared. I'm planning on going on a domestic trip to Vegas here in a couple weeks, and
well, I'm getting on a plane on
uh,
Sunday or Monday
yeah,
to
and you're going
Aruba.
on vacation, and you're going out of the country, so
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. My son goes to he goes to school, and at their spring break is coming up this week,
right.
and they have a service learning trip requirement. So, quick funny story is that they get to pick where they want to go, and their choices are like all over the world. Um, and of course, my son being my son, he's like, oh, they have one in Washington D.C. I'm just going to go there. And my wife and I are like, you could go to Asia, you could go to Africa. Why are you picking Washington? He's like, I want to. So last week, an email or 2 weeks, an email went out saying that all the service trips are canceled because of all the virus except for Washington D.C. So it's it's ironic. It's like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. It's
So,
crazy.
and as you talked about Apple being, that's the human factor of it. They've restricted all their employees, and I think most companies have, to travel to China, and there's it's hard to know when that's going to affect, the sales or this year as well as production and design and of the new iPhones and the new products that they're tend to come out in the fall and there's been rumors about iPads and all that stuff. So as you said that uh, Apple CEO Tim Cook did say that his chief concern is the health and safety of his employees, supply chain partners, customers, and the communities that it operates. So they prioritize the people over revenue. So that was yeah, and of course the Apple stock has been all over the place. I mean, I should have grabbed some when it was way down to like 257, and went way all the way back up to 300, and now it's back down to
I come home
296. And
from work every day now, and I go to my wife. I'm like, "We're rich." Then the next day, "We're poor.
we're
We're
poor.
rich." It's crazy, but Apple is obviously feeling that as well. But like like we were talking before we started, the video conferencing apps are raking it
Yeah,
in right now. Zoom is up 70% in the last 3 months. So there you go.
yeah, no, it's crazy. So, um, all right, well, let's hope we're hoping that this subsides. We're hoping that this is not a problem and to the future, but It's not looking promising. I said many of the Apple's stores had been closed. Italy was hit very hard. I was just there last year, and it's sad to hear how many people have gotten infected in Italy, and in South Korea is another place that's gotten hit pretty hard. And
We
I
just
know
had we had a couple cases around here, starting New Jersey, and New York. So
yeah, there's a number here in Chicago, not a lot, but Illinois is ramped up for it. So when you go out to San Francisco, they have that cruise ship sitting off the coast in San Francisco that can't dock because there was somebody on there that had the virus, and there might be something to do, and they put the tests out there, and it's so it's crazy.
It's not good at all.
So let's jump into some more exciting things to talk about, and that's the tips. I think everybody loves listening to us talk about some of the tips using some of these ear devices. And this time, the first one I threw out there was the Apple Watch and using the control center. I'm assuming you use the control center and you like to go through and access things.
Yeah, I use a lot of them are. The ones I use all the time are going to be the do not disturb.
This one.
Oh yeah, that's always a good one.
Finding my phone.
Find your phone is always a good one.
And
and wait, you forgot one. Hold on. Ready?
Yep. Oh, you changed the.
No, that's pumping water. That's the water lock, and then unlocking the water lock to get the.
Oh right.
To get the water popping out of your phone speaker. So yeah, when you go swimming, use that, and do not disturb. Pretty much, I try to use a flashlight, but that's just silly. I think to me.
Yeah, all it is. The flashlight's like it makes your screen white.
It makes it white. I think I used it once or twice in like a really pinch, and I mean it kind of helped, but certainly not enough. But anyway, in any case,
there you go. I just unlocked mine.
Yep. So,
I don't swim with mine, so it's probably kind of irrelevant doing that. So
yeah, I have. So yeah, you swipe up from the bottom.
Yep, swipe from the bottom. That's how you get to the control center, and then you can check a number of different things on here. Your battery power is on there. It tells you how much reserve power is left, and you can turn on the power reserve from there if you wanted to. The cellular can be turned on and off. The airplane mode on and off, and then you can put it on silent mode. I have my watch. I don't know about you, but I like having my watch on silent mode all the time. I just don't feel the need to hear the ding, 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 and I'd rather have it on vibrate and then find it that way.
Yeah, not me. I have mine so
you like noise.
I like the noise. Yeah, pretty much.
And you can lock your Apple Watch there's a lock icon there, and able to lock it if you want to. There is the theater mode, which allows you to have the setting turned on the silent mode. So and the screen stays dark until you tap it or press a button. That also comes in handy in the Series 5 because the Series 5 is always on, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't do. It keeps it pretty dim, I think, still. But I definitely used it in the theater, and it's a good setting for the theater because, as you said, it makes it dark and it turns off all the noise so people don't look at you funny. And
you can disconnect very easily from your Wi-Fi, within the watch, and then connecting to an audio device. So you can, it's AirPlay. Basically, any type of audio device can be connected right to the watch. And then the walkie-talkie, which is available. You use your walkie-talkie at all on your watch?
I used it once or twice, and
so it's
never again.
Become a non-factor for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's neat, and there should be more uses for it, but I just can't think of that many uses for it. So. There's nothing wrong with it, and that's the thing. I mean, it basically does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just at the end of the day, text messaging is just the way to go when you're doing that. Anyways.
And then do not disturb. You can enable that to turn that on or off. You have that option, and then rearranging the control center is awesome. I've customized it the way I like it because the Find My Phone feature. That's the first icon at the top for me on my row. And the way you do that is you just touch and hold the bottom of the watch face. So swipe it up to the control center, scroll to the bottom of the screen, then you can tap the edit button, which will make the icons jiggle. And then you just touch and hold a button while it turns white. You move it and drag it to the place you want it to be. And then when you're finished, you just tap done, or you can press the digital crown. And then it gives you a nice setup of icons that are set for the control center. So, which icons is the top one that you have?
I kind of left it to default, I think. So
Okay,
I got my Wi-Fi and then airplane mode on top. I'm also noticing I'm at 24% battery, which is interesting because
hmm.
I don't know why. I put the new beta on yesterday. That's probably why. It's probably a battery sucking version of the beta cycle. So it's all right. As long as I get through the day, I'm good.
Yeah. So that's the control center. Another thing I wanted to kind of chat about is the iPhone bar. You know, the where you store your icons at the bottom. I'm always curious to know what people keep as their favorite icons on the bar down there. I of course
Huh.
have the phone. I have the Safari, but I keep a folder of all my business apps for work, since I want to be able to quickly be able to get to those apps for looking email. But what do you have on yours?
I have phone, messages, Facebook, and mail. Is basically what I got there. And on my iPad, I have Safari on the bottom as well. So um, seems to seems to be where I am the most. Strangely enough, I
Well,
so
we knew ice. Yeah, of course we knew because of um, Facebook. That's the
yeah,
thing.
but it's my thing. But the funny part is on my last two phones, which was the 10 and the 10s, my
Mm.
screen got burning. The OLED
Really
burning on both of them. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet on this one, but it was real because basically I saw that icon, the icon stuck to the bottom of my phone when the film was off and all that. And Apple actually did replace, in both cases, they replaced my entire phone for free and didn't use
interesting.
a Apple Plus thing on it. But the funny part is, ever since that happened, I make it kind of a habit to switch the icons around in different order on my home screen, on the bottom of the screen, and that just messes you up because you are so the muscle memory, man. You are so used to pushing a button where you always think it is, and it sucks. But no, so far I haven't seen any screen burning. But as we're
That's
talking
good.
about that, it does happen. So, screen brightness doesn't have to be up all the time. Try to move the icons around a little bit here and there to kind of change things up so they don't kind of burn in. Don't do what I do. I guess is
No,
what I'm
no, don't
saying.
do that.
Yeah.
Um, so the next tip I want to talk about is: have you used Outlook for iOS at all?
Yeah, I use both the Mail app and Outlook for iOS.
I've been really impressed with Microsoft and Outlook for iOS. They've really put some really good features in it, and it's been as you ding there, uh,
Sorry.
uh, as they've really done a great job with it, and it's really become a really powerful alternative for email. A lot of corporations, of course, use it because it keeps things secure through the Microsoft world. But the link that we have this week is on imore.com. This is now allows you let you to actually format text, because I was surprised that you couldn't even format the text. I mean, even the Apple app, mail app, it's always going to be a challenge to format stuff, but they are now allowing you to format the text, and you can go and change the style, the size, create lists, and add inline links, which is great. I don't know if you've tried that yet or not.
I'm playing with it as you speak. I'm looking for where you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So was it, yeah, you go under your name, and then do you know where to go for it? See. Oh, I see. Settings. Yeah. And then it's got to be here somewhere, but oh, here it is. No, that's not it. Oh well, I will look for it another time. But there's definitely a lot of cool features that they added now. We were talking about last week, I think, is um, Cortana. I guess Cortana will read out your messages now
Right. That
from
they
the
did add
phone.
that. Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good app. I mean, I just personally, I hate switching between,
True.
I like the mail app and the phone because it just, integrates pretty well with everything in Apple. But um, there's really nothing wrong with the Outlook app. It works exactly how it's supposed to work.
So, all right, great. And next tip we want to talk about, and IMAR's got some good stuff out this week. How to choose what your iPhone backs up to iCloud, and this especially comes in handy if you are limited in iCloud storage. But I keep telling you, people, don't rely on that free 5 GB of storage that Apple gives you. It's going to fill up in a matter of seconds. And turning off of a lot of data. Do you turn off any of the stuff in settings for iCloud?
No, I don't. I have enough
Well,
space
Scott,
on
why
it.
am I asking you that for? You always have the biggest iPhone there is. So,
So, well, I have that, and I have the 200 gig of iCloud storage. But
yeah,
I've done it in the past when I wanted to do a restore, and not restore everything to a new phone. So you could
yeah.
do that. So you could turn off certain points of the iCloud backup.
So what you can do is you can go into the and under settings, and then either the iPhone or iPad, you tap your Apple ID banner, and then you tap iCloud. You tap manage storage, and then you tap backups. Then you can tap under the iPhone, iPad, under backups. Gives you a list of showing all apps, and then you can turn off all these apps individually if you so choose. A lot of times, like I honestly don't really care too much about Facebook or any of some of these apps. It's not important to me to keep things backed up. Example here, like also talks about Spark, which is a email app that another alternative email app, and you can turn that off too. So this gives you another option too as far as that goes. And this is a great article. You can review through this and just shows the basics of iPhone backup and the iCloud. But yeah, I
Just
definitely
keep on.
agree. Go ahead.
I was going to say, keep as I'm looking at, keep in mind it does take a little bit of time for the list to populate for you to
Yes, it does.
do because it's actually looking, it's actually getting a space index to see how much room everything is taken. So it's nice. It gives you a nice visual of how much space the backup is taking for that particular app.
Yeah,
Keep in mind your photo library is not included in this list. But
right.
it's yeah, you could definitely save a lot of space. I'm looking now, and I have apps that I never even used taking up a gig or two. So why not?
Yeah, why not? Um, so let's talk about battery draining. I think everybody loves that topic, don't you think?
Oh,
Um,
my battery health is 99% after a week. What do I do?
oh my gosh.
Oh my god,
Um, uh,
what the
Tech
hell, man?
Republic tends to have some good articles about some of this stuff, and they did the most battery draining apps of 2020, and they still say Facebook does it. You use the Facebook app, right? You don't just go to the web.
Right, no, I use the app, but I mean, does it really do it, or is just that people are in it all the time? So
Well, no, it comes up and shows that I see that it has it does drain it. There's a link to another website, USwitch, you can click, and it'll actually give you a list of the the heaviest draining apps out there, and then Facebook's number two.
mail
uh,
mail is number one, I'm guessing.
Google was number one, the Google app, and Messenger, which we'll be talking about here in a minute. That's up there too.
Right.
uh, and a WhatsApp Messenger, and then Amazon Alexa. Not surprising there. Gmail, the Gmail app, uh, total demand, and it's given percent of how much demand it puts on the battery. And Google's at 72, and
So what
Facebook was at 50.
they're just testing, testing each one running the same amount of time to see how much more
Yes,
battery it takes.
to see how
Yeah,
uh,
but
uh,
again, you could have Facebook and use it very rarely and barely take any of your battery, and have something, that you use all the time that may not be a big
yeah.
eater of battery up in the top. And of course, you could
But
see this. Yeah, you could see what you're using your battery level in your
if you look at the
settings.
top 10 of this list, and yeah, actually, I'm going to put the link to show notes to just this article itself too, so you can go right to it, so you can see the chart here. Um, the top 10 apps are all apps that are constantly phoning home and
Right. Yeah,
and connecting. So,
makes sense.
which makes
Yeah.
sense. Uber, Waze, Google Chrome, YouTube Music. Those are all in the top 10. So that's not surprising at all. So that's the first thing you got to think about is, are these apps important to you? And is it important to have a better battery life? Now, luckily, the 10S Max, like you and I have, the battery has been just phenomenal. I mean, it's just, I rarely have any issues with it not holding a good full charge for the day unless if I'm using it constantly. So, um, it is a good idea to look at these apps and see how important they are. You can go, and then you can go in and actually, turn off on these settings, going into each one of them individually. Maybe you don't want them to go out and be checking all the time, or how important that is. So,
What took 2% of my battery the last week or two?
what's that?
Something called no cell coverage. It's actually
Well, that'll do it. Yes.
so that is amazing. It actually eats battery when you don't have cell coverage.
That's like being on a plane and forgetting to turn on airplane mode.
Yeah, I guess it's it's so confused trying to find a way to communicate with the world. It's getting itself all worked up on that battery. So that's funny.
And then there was so take a look at that chart, and we put that in the show notes as well. And then there was another article with Tech Republic on how to adjust your iOS 13 settings for better battery life. They gave about 8 tips here of increasing battery life. One of them was dynamic wallpapers. Do you use dynamic wallpapers on your phone, iPhone?
No, and the only ones that are out there are the ones that you can get from Apple, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's the only one so far that I know of.
Yeah,
but that's that they're recommending that you should maybe you should disable that if don't use those. Just use standard photos for the background.
right.
The one thing I'll definitely say for sure that's made a huge difference for me, and I really love it, is dark mode. Dark mode definitely can increase your battery life because it's taking the whites to the darks, and batteries, of course, is going to be less because it doesn't have to be as bright.
True. And
I love dark mode.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wonders what do I do? How can you be using dark mode still? And then disabling raise to wake on your iOS device. I don't even use that. Do you?
The iPhone, I think it's on by default, isn't it? I think
Is it? Oh, yeah, raise to wake to view the lock screen when you raise it up.
Yeah, mine's on.
I haven't noticed anything with that.
Yeah.
The background app refresh, I definitely turn a lot of that off. I mean, though that all should be turned off because I just don't. I'd find that to be a waster of the battery life for sure. They also mentioned motion effects on your iOS device, so that could be potential. Bluetooth connections, make sure you're clean out your Bluetooth list. Make sure you don't have 20 things sitting in there, and forget ones when you don't need them. And you can always add them back later. Location settings for sure. GPS will suck up a lot of battery life when you do that. And then the last thing is place your iPhone face down when it's not in use. That's a good idea. So it's not visually going to turn on or off. So anything else you think that's a pretty good list, I must say.
Yeah, no, my advice is always being near some kind of charger if you need to, and battery packs are a good thing.
Yeah.
They're cheap enough now where you get an external battery, just plug it in. Um, you know, and did you mention the power saver mode? I don't know if I saw
No, I'll go ahead and mention that.
uh, under battery. Where is it? Low power mode. That one, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of does a lot of what you're listing in these tips. Not all of it, but it does some of it. So it reduces background activity and does a whole bunch of other things to make the battery last longer. You could get there by going into settings, battery, and then there's a switch on the very top that says low power mode. And if you
Yeah.
turn that on, your battery turns yellow. So if you
Right.
ever see a yellow battery and you don't know why, then you turn on low battery mode. And I think if you don't have it on and you hit a certain percentage, I think it's 5% of battery left. I think it asks you, "Hey, dude, you wanna put that low battery mode thing on because you're not going to make it much longer otherwise."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a good idea.
Yep.
Um, so those are some good tips with battery life. And then let's go ahead and you wanted to talk a little bit about the Facebook Messenger update. I don't
Yeah,
heavily use Messenger. I've been using it more only because I communicate with you and with Guy,
yeah.
and that's probably about the only times I ever use it. But you're a pretty heavy user of it, so go
I'm
and let everybody
heavy.
know what's been updated.
So I'm a heavy user because when I do IT consulting, I really don't want to give out my phone number to anybody. And a lot of people find me on Facebook, so I kind of encourage them to message me. So no, they're easy to ignore if I want to ignore, and they don't have my phone number. So that's kind of why I'm there. But anyhow, the Facebook has redesigned the Messenger app for iOS to make it leaner. Um, they changed the code around. They actually reduced the size of the app from like 130 megabytes to 30 megabytes. It basically looks mostly the same. There's some places that moved a little bit when you go into Messenger. It's not even now. It's still not the most intuitive app. Sometimes you get a message request from somebody, and it takes a couple of tries and clicks to find out where that message request is because it's not very obvious. But they're working on it. They're adding. I think they have almost all the features of the old version, with the exception of their version of like a read receipt on the messenger. So they're working on that now. But I think they're doing a whole slew of things because they're adding a messenger to Mac soon. They're starting to
Hmm.
roll that out, a separate app for the Mac. They actually took. There used to be a Facebook app in the Windows store from Facebook. Just yesterday, I went to open it and it says it's no longer available and it's been removed, and it has.
Mm,
And Messenger is still there. So something's going on. Definitely,
yeah.
they're reprogramming and developing things there. So I keep an eye out to see what else they're going to put out.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure Facebook on iOS is going to be following and getting leaner. Everybody complains about the Facebook app all the time.
Yes, they do.
It doesn't work. It's too slow. It eats battery. It's all that stuff. Yeah, it's not there's no perfect app, and the fact is, people who use it are in there a lot. So it's perception. You see what you want to see, but there's certainly if I looked at the clock app on the iOS device, 20 times an hour, I probably find things wrong with it too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just keep a lookout. They're definitely making some changes over there over at the Facebook headquarters in
At the
wherever they are
Facebooks.
at the Facebooks. They're doing Facebooking.
So
Yep.
all right, unless you had something else you wanted to add, that you
No,
can think
just
of.
if you don't hear from me in a couple of weeks, that means I'm stuck down in Aruba with the coronavirus. And
Yeah.
hopefully I have internet and coffee and I'll be okay. But
I've talked to friends that have gone to Aruba. But is this be your first time or?
yeah, it is.
It's pretty. It's decent down there. I don't think you have anything to worry about.
I think we'll be okay. Well,
At least it'll be nicer weather.
if we get quarantined, it's probably the best place in the world to be quarantined. So see how it goes.
So, all right. Well, then that's a wrap for this week. Let's please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. In fact, why not send us some email and tell us what is in your iPhone dock? I would love to hear what you keep in your dock all the time. So please do use our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Even tweet out to us what you do, or you also could subscribe to our favorite podcatcher, which includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. You can just listen to us in all those places, but better yet, just go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65, and I can almost guess where we can find Warren.
You could find me wherever Dave hangs out, and we could also do the if you wanna fleet me. I guess you could fleet me at W Sklar as well. So I did a show with David that you're listening to now. Dave and I do a show with Guy Searle on Wednesday nights sometimes. On the Back to the Future
Sort of
podcast, yeah. when the moons line up and things like that, and that's about it. That's where I am.
And then go check us out on Back to the Future's
Facebook page. Yeah,
Facebook page. It's a lot of fun. 3,000 plus strong, and we shout out to all our friends out there on Back to the Future. We like sharing our wealth of information with you and everybody else's wealth of information. So
most of them, but I wouldn't spend most of my time there if I didn't enjoy it. So it is a good
all
group.
of us.
So, yeah, it's a good group.
It's a lot of good people. So anyway, thanks for listening, and we really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again soon.